Greetings, YouTube. Not long ago, Dodie from Dawdle Audle and Dawdle Vloggle, her channels, um, did a video about her other self. Now, she doesn't suffer from dissociative identity disorder, but there was part of her personality that she never showed in public. It was something that she only revealed to her friends and her housemates. I believe she referred to it as Dodie the Goblin, because it was a very secretive, skittish personality that really didn't want to be interacting with anybody else, and I can respect that. And how she has come to the point in her life where she's accepted who she is and essentially reintegrated herself into a full human, even though there will still be times when she displays the characteristics of this much shyer and less public aspect of herself, which again is fine. Diane Jennings, one of the Tri-channel folks, used to be part of the Facts channel. She does some entertaining videos, and occasionally she'll throw in images of herself editing. And Diane on camera during the videos is this bubbly, outspoken, very vivacious kind of a character. Diane, the editor, is very kind of grumpy, sitting there going like, I don't want to edit this. And I frankly find the editing Diane much more endearing because I can relate to her a whole lot more. I haven't filmed videos at almost all this week because it's been so humid. Today's the first day of the week that I've been able to get in the office without sweating from every pore in my body. So I'm very behind on my videos, at least for me. I like to have videos out a week in advance, and I don't yet at the moment. But what am I getting to here? What I'm getting to is integration. And there was a time in my life when I was not an integrated personality. And again, I also did not suffer from dissociative identity disorder, DID. But it was how I coped with the stressors of being raised in a household with an abusive drunk and a codependent, passive-aggressive, enabling mother. So I tended to view myself as three distinct stages of my life. And I have no idea why, but there were multiples of 7. I'd like to figure that out, but I haven't. And the first was me as a 7-year-old. I always referred to him as Jimmy because that's what my grandmother, my mother's mother, referred to me as. My grandma referred to me as Jimmy. And when she died, I kind of put that name on a shelf. And I really prefer people don't use it. I prefer to be called James, even though my parents still call me Jim, and I think my sister may still call me Jim. I prefer James. And the only people that ever call me Jim anymore, or for some strange reason, a lot of Hispanic and Latino people call me Jimmy. They seem to like it. Maybe it rolls off the tongue well for someone who speaks Spanish fluently. I don't know. I still prefer James. And Jimmy was a 7-year-old, and he was the wounded child. And as I began to develop a healthier worldview, I very much came to begin to treat him as my inner child and try to give him the love and attention that he needed because he had been denied it for so long. Tried to give him the structure and the safety and the comfort zone that he was denied when he was growing up. And the second stage of my life, which at 14, was raw, uninhibited, hormonal feralness. An utterly feral personality. So feral, I did not even envision him as a human being. I envisioned him as an Australopithecus afarensis. A 5-foot-tall hominid exploring the savannas of Africa. And he was nothing but lust and rage and hormones. And he was just raw. When I got really angry, it was him that came out. Because when I got really angry, I didn't even have words anymore. It was him howling at the world. the last time he really came out was the night my uncle died. And I raged at a storm, and it raged back. And I knew for that very brief moment exactly what it felt like to look into the sky as something other than human, and to marvel and to fear and to hate all at once. It's an interesting memory, and I don't ever need to repeat it. And then the last snapshot of who I was James, 21 years old. And he knew everything. He had the answers to it all. It was right there. How can all of you be so stupid as not to see it? He was an insufferable asshat, but fairly successful with women. And I don't know why, but I didn't have any difficulty finding women interested in me. Maybe it was the tortured poet in me, because I did write poetry in that period between 14 and 21. Didn't write a whole lot after that. But as I entered cognitive behavior therapy, these three aspects of me slowly came together until they were one. And the only real echo of that time was I still, quite often, inside my own head, think of myself as we. Not the royal we, but the we because at one time, all three of us lived inside my skull. And I had to care for them. And I had to protect them. And they're still there as memories, maybe shadows. But I'm here now. I've integrated myself. And maybe someday I'll stop thinking of myself as we. I'm not sure. I'm almost 54. Hasn't happened yet. But that integration was important. And it happened fairly quickly. In fact, my therapist said that often it does. That when you get to that point where you've finally gone to get the therapy you need, the help you need, the guidance you need, someone to help you learn the skill sets that you don't possess, the integration can happen fairly rapidly. And it did within the first year, maybe the first 6 or 9 months. And I was seeing my therapist twice a month back then. Now I see I actually stopped seeing my therapist for a while, and then we elected a white supremacist, so I'm back to seeing my therapist again. Have discovered a couple of new things that I had to work on, so I guess it, all in all, wasn't bad. So, hi, I'm James. I used to be 3 different people, and now I'm not. And Jimmy, the Beast, and James are all here with me. And I comfort them, I care for them, and I occasionally still listen to their advice. And sometimes I can still feel the Beast kind of roil through my veins. Harder to do that now at 53 than it was at, say, 25 or 30. But it's nice having all of us together. It's nice just being one. So, there you have it. There's my integration story inspired by Dodie, who I recommend you go check out. She does some really lovely music, and she's a very nice person. So tell me, have you ever found yourself in a situation where your personality was fragmented and you had to kind of piece it back together? Or have you settled on being separate and you're okay with that? How we all find our way in the world is completely valid so long as we're not hurting ourselves or others. So let's talk about integration. And just being James.